everybody, this is Tiffany with Divine Messenger Tarot, here with another collective energy reading. I will be channeling Archangel Sandalphon and Archangel Metatron as well today. Sandalphon will be speaking through me as he wishes to speak about the earth grid, what it is, how we can heal it, and what toxic masculinity is, how we can repair it. And they're going to talk a little bit about divine consciousness, which is also the same word and term for God consciousness. Okay, they want to start with the Wildwood Tarot deck, and they want me to draw 4 off the top of the deck after I shuffle. Divine consciousness is the same thing as God consciousness. It's an awareness that everything is oneness. We said this in our last video, but we wish to reiterate it as it was difficult to hear Tiffany shuffling on the wooden table, but she has laid out her tarot cloth to mute the sound. Divine consciousness is the act of oneness. When everything is oneness, when everyone and everything, including plants, animals, seasons, is a reflection of your inner world. When it is cold outside, it's because a place in your heart has hardened and become cold as well. They want me to draw 4 off the top. The seasons will change at will depending on what we wish it as humans. This may sound astronomical to you and unbelievable, but it is a true reflection of how we feel inside. It is only because we think that winter is here that it becomes winter. If we were to think it was summer, it would become summer. You simply need enough souls believing it in order to bring it to fruition. And that is the power of divine consciousness and the power of magic. As this is a holographic universe, therefore everything external from you is a mirror reflection of your beliefs. They want me to read these all in reverse. We have the pole star, which is the star card, the 6 of cups, reunion, 8 of arrows is arrows, wands, or swords. It's swords in this deck, they're saying. But Edmund, is that true? I'm not quite so familiar with this deck, so I want to verify. They're saying it's swords now. So let's see. Yes. No. It doesn't make sense. They're saying to read it as a swords card and followed by the wheel. Sorry about that. It's all good. You want me to draw a clarifying card from the Muse Tarot? I don't know what this is about. It's time to bring a reunion of the Divine Masculine and bring healing to the collective of the Divine Masculine. Divine Masculine simply means men. If you are in an avatar body, a human body that is male, then you are the representation of God and the Divine Masculine, because you are divine and you are masculine. If you are a woman right now, then you represent the Divine Feminine of God. That's how simple that is. But it can be hard to understand these terms, and sometimes people don't explain them online. 10 of Pentacles, which is what came out in our last collective reading. This is what they want us to do. Communion, prayer circles that will bring ultimate growth and beauty of oneness. They want that to be the significator of this reading. And it's only through this is the Ace of Wands, through our inspired ideas of wishing to bring about change that this will happen. They want to talk now about what toxic masculinity is and the pole shift that is incoming to Earth. Right now the Earth is tilted, they're saying 23 degrees or something like that to the right. This was not always so. It was only when the planet took a shift into toxic masculinity that the right hand of God, which is the yang energy, that when this took over, it summoned the planet to move, as everything is holographic and is a reflection of our inner lives, as the collective consciousness of humanity runs this planet on a grand scale. They're saying now with humor that it's not the raccoon collective consciousness, although they play a part in it as the species of raccoons. It is humans who run this planet, as it is our breeding ground and our playground. And therefore, when we are in a state of collective toxicity in the divine masculine, which is an overabundance of aggressive behavior, non-action as well. And they also want to talk about what non-action is. Non-action is when you see your loved one, a female, a child, whoever, being abused by another, and you sit still and you do nothing because you are afraid. You are afraid to stand up. You are afraid to assert your authority or to be a true man. And this has to end. Men need to stand up and rise into what it means to be a strong male, to embody the warrior spirit of God. And they want me to read this next card, which is the struggle card, which shows a woman who has all of these arrows being shot at her, and she's all alone. And they're saying this is how the divine feminine has felt, as if she has been completely attacked and swamped on all sides by the divine masculine and the divine feminine. There goes my lighting. And there's nothing she can particularly do about it. She has her staff, so she doesn't even have a bow. She has no shield. And they're saying now, where is the divine masculine to shield her, as it is his divine right to shield her. It is the power of thrust. It is the power of being energy. And they want me to show you this. Fire is a representation of the divine masculine, whereas water is a representation of the divine feminine. And they're saying water has no cocoon to shield her from others' piercing bites. And it is up to the divine masculine to rise into their true power and to not fear authority and to not fear their own inner power in a positive, loving way. And that this can bring then about great, wonderful change, positive change for humanity. It will build a new relationship between them and God and what it means to be a man. It will help them to come into their power of, again, what it means to be a man. And this is a topic that needs to be discussed among men, among fathers with their sons and with their cousins and with their grandfathers. And they're showing me a picture of men sitting around a hearth, or even they're saying at a pub. It's time for these conversations to be had of what does it mean to be a healthy man? What does a healthy man look like? Does he sit by and allow his children to be abused by a wife who hits them too much? Does he allow himself to be abused by a wife, verbally or physically or otherwise? Does he allow his mother to control and domineer him, and instead of asserting respect, that I demand respect, and they say to bang my fist, I assert myself, you will not treat me this way, mother? Or do you sit back and you take it because you're afraid of asserting control? And at other times, are you over asserting control? And they showed me now an image of a man dragging his wife by his arm angrily. Where is the balance? Where is the peace? These are topics and conversations that need to be had among men and also among women in their inner circle. But first, it must be had in communion with men amongst men. And you must decide what is healthy and what is right. And then visualization and prayer can come into fruition of bringing about this new peaceful union in the divine. And they said eventually here what you'll find is that the earth will actually tilt to its midpoint where it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be on its side. This is a reflection of it's on the right and not the left, because the right is the masculine energy. And just as if it was to be toxic femininity, and they said once upon a time there was such a thing, and they want to say Amazon tribes, where you have these idea of large Amazonian women who used to kill women. They said a lot of that is myth and lore, but there's some sacred truth to it, that women in certain ancient fertility cultures did used to abuse men terribly and use them as slaves, and only use them for their seed and their muscle, and otherwise they were cast away, sort of enslaved. And some men now who despise women actually were alive and experienced that trauma and now have a toxic, how would you say that? A toxic representation of women, and they become misogynist womanizers because now is the era of the toxic man, and now they are embodying it in order to basically reap karma onto the woman in order to get retaliation and reprisal on the woman. And none of this is healthy. None of this. This is where forgiveness is called for, they're saying. Now they want me to read the cards backwards to forwards. When we heal this energy, when men stand up to heal this energy, and it's going to take strong alpha men who have benevolent hearts, and there are many out there, but many of them are not demonstrative to other men. This is where they're saying books need to be written from strong, powerful, all-loving alpha men. Books, seminars, classes need to be had in order to serve as an example and teach younger generation men and boys what is proper, which is that you stand up and fight when necessary, and they show me throwing that punch and also throwing up a hand of no, you shall not trespass here, and no, you may not transgress against my wife or child, etc. And I will use physical force if necessary, and not fearing the law, because they're saying the law will always be on your side when you act with divine right, and it is your divine right as a sovereign being. And they're saying sovereign here, they want me to explain, means independent, that you are holy and that you have a right to not allow others to transgress against you and yours. You have a right to have your door locked and not have somebody break in. And you have a right to assert your authority that no, you shall not, and I will take divine right. No matter that I'm an unconditional being of God and love. You have a right not to come in here, and I have a right to stop you with my masculine force. Using hands, fists, wands, whatever. And it's only through repairing this, they're showing a loom here, and it's weaving a new sweater. It's only through weaving new patterns and integrating this new self-love of the masculine and understanding and then conjoining and agreeing upon what it means to be a man, that then the female will no longer be frightened of the male, as the females on this planet are absorbed in negativity over how they are treated in pornography by men, degraded, they're saying, derogatorily. They are summoned for sexual abuse. They are castigated for being right or wrong in public circles or in quiet circles. And they are reprimanded summarily by the males at alarming rates. And this is what toxic masculinity does. It's time to bring a blessing of reunion here between the masculine and the feminine to bring a wholesomeness. But until conversations are had and until the divine masculine, and they're saying alpha males with the benevolent hearts, and they're even saying like Trump here, don't be triggered, you might be triggered, step up and start to heal these wounds. And many women of sexual abuse or who have had abandoned father figures have actually been, who adore Trump, have felt healed by his representation of what it means to be a strong father figure and leader. Yes, and I know somebody personally who has cried true tears, and she said herself, and they want me to mention this, her name is Jen, and God bless you, Jen, that he has healed all of my paternal wounds. It doesn't need to be your literal father. He is simply a magnificent, and just because he's larger than life and on a public scale, a magnificent representation of what the true divine masculine can be. Even though he's not perfect, it's not about perfection. It's about he would never harm a child. He will stand up for the women and men in his life, and he will not be shot down. They said literally assassination attempts galore against him, but they can't, because he has divine holy protection to do his life work, though they're saying that part of it will end soon. And only then, when the divine masculine chooses to heal this, chooses to acknowledge that this is a problem, that there's an over-abuse of women, and they're saying pornography is a big problem. It's a big problem how women are treated. And now teenagers, are showing me teenagers are now being affected by this derogatory use of women, and it's tainting the brains and decaying the brains of young people. And they're saying they're not trying to bash pornography. This is just one steadfast example of how women are being abused for only their physical form and not loved for who they truly are. And they're saying women are just as guilty because they choose to do the videos as well, or to do the pictures as well. So it's not that one is more responsible than the other. They're just saying we're using this as an example. But it's only through these prayer circles, through these visualizations, through speaking to other men at the hearth, having more guy groups in a healthy way, discussing and acknowledging that there's a problem and that I need to stand up and be an example of what is healthy and right. Through creating books, seminars, videos, and getting your work out there. They're saying this is an activation post to help to activate some of you, and that many divine masculine or men will resonate with this video. And many of you will be ashamed of how you have treated women in the past because you did only sexualize that woman or women. And you did only marry them for their looks, and you didn't really care about their personality. They're saying to forgive yourself, that this is just a mirror and a reflection of you, and that anything can be healed, like instantaneously. And some of it is a process as well. But it's only through doing this that we will begin to heal the relationship of the men and the women on this planet, of the divine masculine and the feminine. And only then will we have healing, astounding healing. And oneness will begin to come on earth at alarming rates, at wonderful rates, at astounding rates. But the men who are already benevolent and alpha must step up first and be the true leaders, start acting as chieftains. And if your words are never getting out there and you're never able to set an example, although you might in your community square or in your family circle, it needs to be more, they're saying, on a nationwide scale. And other men and boys and teenagers and kids will see your works, and then they will aspire to be like you. They will see that you are holy and righteous, and they will want to be like you. This is where magnificent change comes along. And they want me to hold this card up because there's men and women and children holding hands. You will start your own, they're saying, prayer circle, which is a circle of change in which we hold hands, metaphorically or literally, and bring about beautiful growth that aspires positivity and wholesomeness and holiness in our lives. And are you really okay? Oh, they want me to say that. Okay, I'm going to say it. Are you really okay with the fact that grown women are shaving their vaginal hair, in which the only time a woman does not have vaginal hair is when she is a child? And so when you are masturbating or mating to a female who has no vaginal hair, your brain does not understand the difference on an intellectual level or on a deeper, baser level, that you are not orgasming or taking pleasure from a child. Because it's only a child that does not have hair on her pubic area. They say, we are not trying to harm you here. We wish for you to consider why you look at the things you look at and what it truly means from a deeper, more critical perspective. Now they said to light some sage, because that was hard for me to say. They said even the armpit hair on the feminine, on the divine feminine, is a ridiculous notion that she must remove it from her body or else she is not an entire woman, that she is not a whole woman, when yet the masculine has zero impetus to shave or remove hair from under his arms. It's ridiculous, Metatron says, and who is that? Sandalphon says, it is ridiculous. We just wish for you to look at the absurdity of making the female change her form, even to shave her legs, and for what? When throughout all of the ages of humanity, this was never necessary for a male to be turned on or to love and aspire to want to be with that woman because she just has hair, and it's normal for her to have hair. Why do you not want her to have hair there? Is it because culture and society tells you so? Because you have allowed conditioning programs to tell you what is sexual on a female. And then the women, the divine feminine watching this need to ask themselves, why do you allow yourself to be conditioned with this programming? And is it toxic or is it healthy? Does it empower you or does it actually disempower you? And we're not telling you what to think here. We want you to think for yourselves, they're saying. We want to sow seeds of information into your brain that for you to consider and contemplate. on why you do the things you do with your body? And does it have to be that way? Will you be less of a woman if you have natural armpit hair? Because that is where it grows. Just as they said, stroke your hair, Tiffany. Just as it grows on my hair. Would I be less of a woman if I shaved my hair, or would I be more of a woman? Why do we not shave our head hair, but only the hair under our arms? And what purpose does it serve to make us more sexualized? Other than you believe it to be true, therefore it is. Why not believe that having hair under your underarms makes you more sexy? All it would take is strong alpha females to lead by example. And they want me to tell you that I went through a time in my spiritual growth just in the last few years where I stopped shaving that under my arms. And I only restarted shaving, and my husband had no problems with it. He didn't care. For one, you hardly ever notice it. But it was sort of like a test and a challenge to myself of, am I still a woman if I have hair under my arms? And it turns out I still was. However, I still felt deep fear of reprisal or rejection of other humans, especially I started shaving again when I started going to yoga again in public, like a hot yoga. And you have to put your arms up, and I was too afraid. People were, oh my, get her out of here. She has hair. I mean, the men have hair, but they're men. That's totally okay. And they said that's toxic masculinity, that they have set a program of belief on how women should look, think, feel, and act, and women have accepted it. So this is also a message for the divine feminine, that it's time to rise up into your power as a goddess, as the divine feminine, that you do not need to allow men or other women to control how you are with your body. That you do not need to shave your pubic hair to be more sexual or more sexy or more beautiful. That you will be beautiful exactly as you are if you believe it and you project that into the universe, into the void. And it's time for men to stop consuming pornography in such numbers. And we know that this is going to disturb you, as many of you are addicted to it to an unhealthy degree. There is always a level of temperance and balance and prudence that is required with all things in life in order to keep from falling into negative, addictive patterns. And many of you struggle with pornography greatly. And they're showing me it's literally somebody sweeping it under the rug. This is brushed under the rug by culture because it's still considered cool to do this. It's joked about how much men masturbate, even though it's a sacred secretion. And when you release your seed at unhealthy durations, at unhealthy levels, you actually lose chi. You become weaker, you become more lethargic, you're prone to getting headaches, anxiety attacks, other fear-based attacks, they're saying. And they're saying again, we want to remind you, this is not Tiffany speaking, we are channeling through her. And they're saying some of you won't believe that either, but she's a divine channel. And they just commended me on my spirit for being able to deliver these messages, because they're slightly difficult to talk about, and I didn't know what they were going to talk about when we did this reading. Toxic masculinity is a problem on this planet, but it can be fixed and it can be corrected, healed, but it's going to take, and they're saying the few, that there is not many whatsoever at all, who are benevolent of heart, emotion, and spiritual and physical body, who can lead others. And it's going to take one to know one. So you will know who you are. And you're going to have to serve as the chieftain of the village of all. And don't worry, you have that divine power within you to accomplish this. And for some of you, this is your divine life mission, to help heal and bring about rejuvenation to the divine feminine by showing what a true alpha male is. He does not smack a woman. He does not grab her roughly. He does not allow another to abuse their child. He will punch him in the fucking throat and throw him down to the floor and spit in his eye. Because you have trespassed terribly. And they're even saying, if so much as it is necessary, I will put you in a grave. And they're saying, this is God's law. They said, you won't believe it because you think that God is so holy as to never seek justice. But they said, this is what true justice is. This is what holy order is I set the chaos to right. And you are not allowed to transgress on me or my family or my woman or on my brother or my cousin or my grandma, they're saying. This is giving me the shakes. Okay, just a minute. They want me to light Palo Santo. They're saying to forgive Tiffany for being the divine messenger for this reading. This is difficult for her, and her stomach is in knots right now with anxiety. This is not easy to say what they're saying. They want to talk about the armpit hair thing again. When did this come about? They said some of you in the comments should go and start researching. When did women start being forced, or what's that word you say, propelled? To start vanquishing the hair under their arms. It wicks away sweat. It deodorizes naturally. They're saying now women naturally have smellier armpits and must wear and compensate by wearing more perfume deodorizers and deodorants than men do, and they don't even realize it because they don't have the hair that should be there to keep the sweat from dripping down their sides of their body, which is exactly what is happening with my body right this minute, which is why they want to bring that up. They're saying if Tiffany chose to grow out her underarm hair, she would find that stops. That the hair grabs it, and then when she showers later, it's gone. And that it's not disgusting to have hair where God put it. And it's not disgusting to have sex with a woman who has hair on her pubic mound. It's actually normal. She's a woman. And it grew there as a sign of sexual development. It states to the male when he sees her nude that I am ready for sexual reproduction and I am of age to have a baby. So when you are making love to a woman who has no pubic hair, your brain is saying, I am making love to a child. They're saying a baby. I am making love to a baby because this female has no pubic hair. And they're saying your brain is not intelligent enough as the current human species to understand the difference. Although you, on a mental level, obviously understand. And then what are you teaching your children is right? Or your sons and daughters? Then you're propelling that's like the word they keep saying, you're propelling the female then to keep removing her natural hair. And they're saying it's not that it can't be trimmed or cut cute, and they're showing me a heart where like you get it waxed or you shave it in a heart and you make it, or they're showing me the pyramid and the triangle. It's not that you can't, they said landing strip, do creative things, and they're saying with your pubic hair, and they said even the ancient Egyptian females did this. They would paint their body in gold and put black hieroglyphic markings during sacred sexual rituals or during their heroes gamos. And they would have, they're showing me a really sharp, like old-fashioned cowboy knife, and they would have their pubic hair shaved to a specific angle. But it was sacred, it was a ritual, it was holy, it had a purpose. It wasn't just to be conditioned of this is just what we're told is sexy, therefore you must do it or you will not be accepted by the male, you will be rejected. And are you okay with that? They're saying make up your own mind. But we want you to chew on this. We want you to digest it. We want you to consider this. And is it holy to make the female change her form in order to be, they want me to do air quotes, accepted by the male? And women, are you okay with this? And why are you okay with this? Because you settle for less? Because you know that 98% or more of the men on this planet are weak beta males who will not stand up for you anyways? Who are not good enough for you? Because you have extraordinarily low standards of what a man should be? And why is that okay with you? If the women began to stand up and have stronger standards, as Tiffany has just recently, then she will, and you will, attract a male that is no longer beta and will stand by and allow another to get too close to you to make you, the female, uncomfortable. Instead, you will get a male who will, they said, choke a bitch. How dare you? You're not getting close. You're not getting close to my female. You're trespassing. And I will fucking assert my authority. Verbally, and they're saying through a verbal altercation, and I will use my words to stop you as it's the divine masculine's right. He is the ancient protector. And now they're showing me, is that Zulu? They're showing me an African tribe of ancient warrior women who have machetes in Africa. And I wish I could remember the tribe. It is what the inspiration for the Black Panther movie came from, and those extraordinarily strong fighter women. It's the real life tribe. And they said, even they embody this divine feminine alpha energy. whether realistically or sort of metaphorically here. They're saying that they will never allow a male to trespass against them, and the men in their lives are just as hardcore, their word, not mine, as they are. They are on equal harmonic measure. But those men in Africa do not have access to YouTube channels, to necessarily publishing books, to making seminars that can reach a global level as you do who's found this video. And it's up to you whether you're going to decide to help change the masculine programming on this planet. And it's up to you, Divine Feminine, watching this video, if you're going to rise up and stop shaving your pubic hair. Do you do it because you're truly empowered by it? And have you considered the correlation between children, babies, who do not have pubic hair, and the Divine Feminine, mature grown women who remove it as well? Have you thought about that? Have you thought about what that is programming into our brains of the collective consciousness of humanity? And do you think it might be a little bit despicable, or a lot despicable, they said? And they said, we're not judging you. We are providing you food for thought. And they're saying this is something Tiffany has thought about. And this is true. And they want you to know that I do think it's despicable. And this is something I stopped doing a long time ago with regards to personal manners. They want me to say my pubic hair. It's okay to say it. That we don't need to, they're saying right now, we don't need to have shame over discussing something such as hair on a part of our body. And why is that uncomfortable for Tiffany to say? Why is it uncomfortable for you to hear it? But yet you're okay with going online, they're saying to YouPorn or wherever you go, RedTube, and looking at strange women being sexually abused in various positions by all kinds of men. And why is that okay? But it's not okay to discuss whether or not a woman should have pubic hair or not. Why is that uncomfortable? But the other one is not. And they want me to specifically say of seeing a men masturbating on a woman's face. Why is that okay? Is it only because you're alone in your room? So if they want me to say now, if you are alone in your room right now listening to this video and you're listening to me discuss these topics of comparing masturbating with women with pubic hair versus not, and comparing that to children's vaginas, why does this make you uncomfortable but you're okay with seeing 4 or 5 strange dudes jerking off on a female's face who's sitting on her knees? Where are the regulations? Where are the protocols? Which one is actually healthy? That I am fully clothed and a grown adult woman having a healthy conversation about a sexually based topic that is based on trying to bring healing and awareness and knowledge to a disturbing topic to deal with up here in heaven, they say, and that causes more harm than good? Or would you be more comfortable, oh God, they want me to say that, if you saw Tiffany on her knees in one of those videos, having men do that? They want you to acknowledge which one would you actually be more comfortable with, and then you need to really ask yourself why, and you need to ask yourself why you're not disturbed. Why is that not problematic for you? And for those of you, they're saying with the heart of gold, who finds that extraordinarily disturbing, you are the alpha male. You are the true heart of gold, benevolent king, and we ask you to rise up to your divine life purpose now, and to take Tiffany's outstretched hand from this video, metaphorically or literally. When you come into union, they say, oh God, that's from my twin flame, okay. They said, and she knew that, and she's playing coy because she's trying to make a professional video for the masses. Forgive me, I'm coming into union with my twin flame soon, and he is the benevolent king of all. He is a god. Okay. It is through people like that benevolent king with the golden heart. They're saying it's your duty to rise up and lead by example through seminars, through YouTube videos, through channeling books from the divine. And they're saying we will help you do that if you call us, and Tiffany can teach you how to do it, and you'll be great at it. You might be so astounded at how great you are at it. That's incredible. That's incredible. Because if nobody ever stands up on a national, global, international, they said start nationally, start changing your nation first. and showing what a real representation of the divine masculine is, the holy warrior God is, then that's never going to change. They're saying, in fact, it will likely get worse with the state of pornography getting rougher, tougher, more dark. And they're showing me 16-year-old boys, and they're watching very dark things and how women are treated, and then they're treating their girlfriends like that, and the girlfriends are accepting things, and they are too emotionally immature to understand what they're doing as an adult would. And they're saying now that anal sex play, for example, might be okay in an adult relationship who knows how to safely use lubrication. And they said, look at how uncomfortable you just got in this reading, people, when she said that. And yet you have masturbated to this so many times. Why is that okay? But discussing it in a healthy way, and they want me to show you the community card, is un-okay. It's time to have forthright, honest discussions on this, because that's also what toxic masculinity is. It is, again, they're showing me sweeping it under the rug while overtly and jokingly abusing and deriding women at extraordinarily unhealthy levels. As these videos are uploaded by like the millions daily. And people are extraordinarily attached to it to unhealthy degrees. And they're showing me an example now of men who have to masturbate multiple times just during the work at their desk, or they're taking breaks to go to the bathroom. This is a problem. You wouldn't bring alcohol to your job. You would say that is a problem. And they're saying now we need more development programs to bring healing to this, that men need to sign up for more programs to get off of pornography addiction. And it will mean turning it off forever, because it's too seductive in its nature. And part of it is the males need to seek to control the female, and that's what's happening in all these videos. And women need to stop making it. They need to stop permitting it. They are permissive in this, and therefore just as responsible. But they're saying this video now is for the masculine watching, and those who will resonate with it, which we hope will be all of you. And we love you unconditionally, but this needs massive healing on this planet. This is a large-scale problem in multiple countries. And they're saying you won't even realize just how sexualized the female is until you go to places like Africa and places in India and Tibet and Nepal, and you see how holy and respected the woman is treated as feminine, is treated as a woman. And she is not put on display like she is in the USA, England, Australia, Germany, and other first world type nations, they say. We wish to draw more cards now, they say, using the Muse Tarot. Okay. How does this video make you feel? Why does this make you feel uncomfortable? But they want to use the example of the female on her knees with 4 men ejaculating secretion onto her face is okay, and that does not make you feel uncomfortable. Why does that make you feel good? But having a healthy discussion about male and female sexuality makes you want to turn off and look away. Why? They're saying, don't criticize it, think about it. Acknowledge that this is weird. This is kind of a problem. She's kind of making a point. We are making a point through Tiffany, the divine channel here, that something is flawed in this thinking and in this patterning of belief. And part of it is dark forces are at work that you wouldn't understand in this video, and we will not have Tiffany channel about it now, because it goes deeper than your realm of understanding and resonance. Perhaps one day we will be able to have Tiffany speak uberly, they said uberly forthright on just what kind of mechanisms are enacted in this matrix and on this planetary grid that seeks to control humans and to deride the female to keep her from rising up into her power. And it's also a sacred secretion problem. When you are overspending your seed, you deplete your energy field. Again, they want to remind you, this makes you sick. It makes you low of energy, lethargic. It makes you actually hate yourself as your seed requests and requires to be tucked inside you, except in sacred service to the female. So when you are spending it thriftily, like I'm just going around shooting it everywhere, you are telling your male form that you are actually useless. That's what they just said. Explain that, please. That there is so many females to go around that then therefore there is no sacred female. Because a true holy warrior saves his seed for his sacred female. And they're showing me now penguins, like soulmates. And they're saying, we're not saying you can never, they said, jack off. However, what pornography are you consuming? Why do you even require it to spend your seed? And if you had zero access to any pornography at all, would you nearly spend your seed in the way that you do, with the frequency in which you do? And the durations, and they're showing me now a clock with an hour, where some of you really make it like a theater production of it. You spend like an hour and a half doing this. Why do you not have a sacred female that you find that you do this production with if you require it? What is it about being alone and doing this? And they're saying, again, this is toxic masculinity. You are actually secretly abusing the female at your whim. They're saying more on that later to draw the cards. This is so beautiful. This is what they want the divine feminine to do, to be a bridge of healing, beauty, and love to others, to stand up and say, I no longer choose to shave my pubic hair because I see that is a representation of children, of female children. And I'm going to walk this, they said gangplank, because I was going to say path, they said gangplank, into a new future and start making waves with my respectability as a female. I'm going to not lower my standards, I'm going to raise my standards of what it means to be a woman. And then they said, not in some holier than art thou way. And then I will require men to rise up, to take better care of themselves, to treat me with respect, to treat my children with respect, to not invade my privacy, and etc., etc. What else? Four of inspiration. This is what has been knocking. It's female communion. Notice it's in reverse. There's 4 women. We are not discussing this. We aren't discussing this in our social circles about why we're shaving our hair for men, or why would I be thwarted from a life partner if I don't shave my underarm hair? And they want me to say that sarcastically. They want you to realize it's stupid. It makes no sense. It serves zero purpose on the side of the female. It serves zero purpose physically. And why don't we require men to do it? Why aren't men considered unsexy if they don't shave their underarm hair? Why is there a discrepancy? They don't do this. Why? Don't you see the scales are not balanced? And women are, they said society knows this, but no one's taking action. That the scales are unbalanced and women are treated unfairly in their physical appearance, and much more is demanded of them, and yet they acquiesce. We agree to it by participating in it. Tiffany agrees to it by participating in shaving her underarm pits because she grew scared about going to yoga, being chastised, of being looked at with disgust. So she allowed it to grow back in. And they're saying, will she allow it to grow back out now? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. And they're saying that is her right and her prerogative. Would you make your child, they're saying a 6-year-old, if you had a 6-year-old girl, well, they're saying no, that it's not working, it's too young. When your female child starts to grow hair naturally on her body, on her pubic mons, let's just say an example of 12 and 13 years old, and she starts to grow that underarm hair, would you make her shave it? They're saying that thought should be disturbing to you. They want you to ask yourself why. Why would making this preteen, shaving her underarms and pubic bone area, why is that disturbing to you? But masturbating to women with it is not. They said this is a question for the men and the women in this reading who are participating. And we thank you for tuning in, and please like and subscribe to my channel. Why is this okay? Isn't it disturbing at the thought of forcing your child, making her shave it? But you don't, we don't do that. Where are these lines? What are the regulations and protocols? Is it only when you're of sexual age that then you say, oh no, you must again look like a baby? You must now shave your underarm hair and pubic hair to look like that of a baby. Because babies and toddlers and children and the female form are the ones who do not have pubic hair. Why do we not force the divine masculine to shave their pubic hair? Although many of them do. And they said that we will not get into the circumcision problem because that's a whole other debate and for another reading. But that is well a significant problem, and why so many men are beta males is because they are scalloped. Scalloped? Like that knife that doctor's knife, they are scalloped and therefore emasculated upon birth. And this is a ritual programming mechanism to emasculate men immediately. And you need to ask yourself why you're doing that. And they said immediately you're going to ask yourself, say, oh, there's all these health protocols. And they said, actually, if you do deeper into research, you're going to find, and they said you only have to dig deep. Find a single book on it, and you're going to find it's complete malarkey. Nonsense. They said it's complete nonsense that we are eviscerating the masculine penis. And it is a physical, spiritual, and emotional cutting of his manhood. And it is why we have such a problem with beta masculinity on this planet. And then an overabundance of toxic masculinity, as in as in many men will grow up and resent the lack of foreskin, which they said, by the way, grants you more foreknowledge. It's a spiritual circumcision as well as a physical, and you need to ask why you perpetrate that upon your children. But they said, save that for another video, Tiffany. Okay. They said that message was misaligned. That was just her own gusto. Although we approve of it, thanks. Okay, we have the Eight of Pentacles here. They want me to read it upside down, followed by the feminine card. I'm going to have to look at it. This is women having disturbing beauty rituals and not agreeing upon what a protocol should be. And they're saying this is not about you not being able to have independent play. And they want me to bring about the example of the Egyptian goddesses of old who used to do sacred ceremonies with their pubic hair. Although they always left it remaining, they would just carve it beautifully for like a mating ritual. If they were about to do a fertility ritual to get pregnant, they would do it during certain lunar cycles, etc. And the male would also be prepared. They're showing me she would be bathed in a water filled with rose petals. All of these, it's basically, they're saying sacred magic to ensure that the seed would take and the womb would grow fertile with baby. Why do you shave it? And is it necessary? And are you okay with it? And would you do it to your prepubescent little girl? And what does it mean that that's what it looks like, is that of a little girl's vagina? And why are you okay with, they're saying, jerking off to that? And are you going to be okay with it now? Or does this disturb you, that that's what you are actually doing? Metaphorically. Not literally, they want me to restate that. Metaphorically, this is what you're doing when the woman looks like that. They're saying we don't want to disempower the divine feminine not to express her creativity with the use of her body, but we do wish for you to acknowledge why, on a deep-rooted level, you do the things you do. Is it because society has merely told you this is what a woman who is sexy looks like, therefore you just do it, you obey the rule? Rule number one is you shave your pussy hair, and they want me to say that. Rule number one is you shave your pussy hair, therefore you will get a life partner. Why? It's nonsense. Throughout all of the ages, women have had hair on their legs, on their underarms, on their pubic bone area. Why is this so uncomfortable for you? It's time to start reinvigorating the divine feminine and masculine, to have healthy sexual discussions, and to perhaps revamp what we find sexy, what we consider sexy as an individual. Because you can only perpetrate that on yourself. You can only change, you can control yourself. However, you can inspire. They want me to hold this Ace of Wands, Ace of Inspiration. You can inspire others on a massive global stage, starting with your nation, your First Nation here. I wonder why they said that way. Starting with your homeland. And they're showing me Vimeo, books, seminars, even being outspoken on Facebook. That hell no, I won't be with no woman who shaves her hair. I don't want my girl to look like a child. They literally they said that. And people will read it and it's going to disturb them, and they're saying Facebook will likely block it, but hopefully enough people will see it before it's removed. Okay, so you may need to be mincing your certain words in your posts. But it's time for the divine masculine to rise up and to assert themselves as an example of what a proper gentleman really is, of what a real benevolent leader looks like, of what a real man looks like. And you need to first agree upon for yourself and with other men of what does it mean. And it's going to take forthright, uncomfortable conversations. And it's going to take persuading others to see that there are other points of view at play. And you ultimately cannot control what anyone thinks. Not even what Divine Messenger Tiffany is thinking. Which is that she might consider growing out her underarm hair, but she doesn't know how her future spouse would be about that. I'm not worried about it. I got time to think about it. I'm not changing anything right now. And they said that's okay too. Perhaps one step at a time. Perhaps conversation comes first, and then the physical change will come later as women accept themselves for how their bodies are supposed to be. Why don't women shave their arm hair? Why don't they shave the tiny bits of, you get itty bitty little natural hair fibers across everywhere in your body? Why are we not waxing that? Why is that not faux pas? Why is that not shameful? We want you to analyze and contemplate and look at what is acceptable and what is not, and why is that okay? Because it's only through critical thinking about this, about the human woman body, about what it means to be a man, that any change is going to arise. We actually don't wish to shame you in your behavior, as we don't want to reap karma here. We wouldn't do that to you. We love everyone and everything unconditionally. However, that doesn't mean that changes are not ever necessary, and that behaviors aren't unhealthy or toxic or harmful in the long run on this planet, and that this can't be healed and fixed, and that this is negative programming that can be fixed and healed through self-love and self-accepting your body for how it naturally looks, and then invigorating it from there using creative goddess energy of, okay, I'm going to shave my pubic hair very, very short, and I'm going to carve it this way because I'm afraid that my partner won't like it, and then move on from there. And before you know it, they said, they're showing me this, it's like a big bush. They said before you know it, he's going to look at that and be like, damn, that's hot. Because he's going to also be going back to his normal human programming of, this is what a woman looks like. And she's still hot as fuck. And I'm still, they're saying hard and aroused, and they want me to use these words. Sorry, I'm very embarrassed. Okay. And the tower is in reverse. And then so someone's mind's being blown. They said that this will blow your mind how cataclysmically awesome it will be to change the divine masculine's point of view of women, and how when beta women rise up and become alpha women, they will change the world one person at a time, beginning with this partner or spouse that they are making love with, and then inspiring their children. Basically, they see mommy has pubic hair, so then the daughter's a teenager, she doesn't shave. And by stopping the pornography abuse, and they said, we're not talking about seeing decayed pornography of dark topics. They said all pornography is dark to some degree or another, because you're treating women as sexual objects. The men are also being treated as sexual objects. However, because they are perpetrating upon the female, this is the problem. It's toxic. The women have no power in these videos. They're saying unless it's female on female play, in which there are no men to be toxic, okay? But be cautious with that. Are you addicted to that? Female on female play. And these women have no pubic hair like that of children. And we're going to keep having Tiffany say that, because we want to plant the seeds in your head that this is, they're saying, messed up beyond belief. And why do we have this? When did this start? They said people ought to research and even post in the comments of when was it acceptable and when did it begin? 1920s, later? That women were required now to shave their hair on their legs, which is a nuisance. Many women are cutting their legs up. It's time consuming, it's tedious, but it makes the legs soft. But they want me to tell you an example of when the time I grew out my arm hair, I've got my leg hair. First off, you can't even see it. You can't even tell when a woman grows her leg hair out. Now, of course, maybe it is different per body. You couldn't tell. I went around in shorts, nobody. You couldn't see a thing. My hair was so soft, my legs were so soft. They said Tiffany should lead by example, but she's probably too scared. And that's okay. They said we will not shame her because we don't do that. But something needs to happen to shake things up. And they just said that Tiffany probably will lead by example in this lifetime because she always rises up because she's a lion. Rawr. Okay, they want to end this reading. They want us to draw a sacred geometry card and a moonology card. Sacred activation deck. Shuffle and draw one off the top. Please consider what we have said here with grace and ease. Please do not shun it. Please don't turn it away just because you disagree with the message right now. Please let this sink in. Please rewatch it with objectivity of where you set back and consume without consuming. I perceive it without consuming. And then allow it to sink in. And for those of you who pray for guidance on this. Pray to help you to be more consciously aware of what it is you're consuming. And if you are addicted to pornography and you are aware of it, then you need to find, they're showing me Reddit. Reddit has a group called NoFap. And there have been many testimonials of individuals who have truly beaten the demon. And they want to say that. Beaten the demon of being addicted to sex and of being addicted to fapping, okay? Right? Of orgasming needlessly. Why do you need to waste your seed? Why is that the most pleasurable thing in your life? When a sacred space of meditation, and Tiffany will tell you for a fact, feels far better than any orgasm. It's a fact. They said except twin flame orgasms. What? Soul time. That's hilarious. Let me read it. The frequency of soul time asks us to allow the possibility of a new reality to emerge. A new reality, a paradigm shift. And they say, don't be surprised if in this holographic time, if we get enough people to stand up and lead to show what a real divine masculine is, a real king is, and enough female to say, I'm not going to shave, I'm not going to do this, and are vocal about it on a global scale. They said, literally, you might just see the planet shift. And they said they'll have some science excuse for why it happened so quickly in such short time, and they said it'll be magic. Because this is a holographic representation of what's taking place on this planet, and it was not always shifted to the left, or excuse me, to the right. At one point they said this is perpendicular, they say, up and down, perfect. And that's when there was the perfect left hand of feminine and right. But something happened, they said the Dark Ages, and men took over to an aggressive level, and it shifted. And so a new paradigm shift is necessary. They want me to finish reading the card. And we can do this. Okay, the frequency of soul time asks us to allow the possibility of a new reality to emerge, one that embraces the concept that while the corporeal body is mortal, your physical body is mortal, the soul is timeless, limitless, and infinite. And they want me to say, knowing that your physical vessel is temporary, your physical vessel is your body, your physical vessel is temporary, but your soul is timeless, pure, God-strength energy and can never be destroyed. Just as the atom can only be split, it can never be destroyed. And they want me also to say atom is Adam in the Bible. Look it up. An atom is an atom. Okay. Like, don't go there. So then what are you not capable of achieving and doing? Knowing that you are timeless and limitless and powerful beyond belief. They're saying prayer circles are called for here. Prayer to end toxic masculinity. Praying among your fellow brothers and sisters and asking for healing of this pornography rings. Some of which brings about massive sexual abuse to women on a scale unheard of ever on this planet. They said actually that's a fact. That the sexual abuse perpetrated upon women in pornography is just unprecedented. And women must stand up and stop allowing it. Stop taking money for it. Find a better job. You are worth more than your body. And women must step up and lead by example, just as the divine masculine alphas must step up. And it will take courage and perseverance, and you will be castigated on a public scale if you do this, but you will also be reprimanded gently as well. So take heart, it won't be all terrible. And people will thank you. They're saying people will send you flowers. People will cry that, oh my God, I can finally accept my body for who I am. I can finally let my leg hair grow out because it is stupid. It's ridiculous. It's stupid. You would look nice in high heels and a skirt anyway. And the male's going to look anyway. And they're saying his eyesight is so poor or foggy, you're not going to notice she has hair there. And when you touch it, her legs will be soft and glorious as you want them to be. But it's going to take that courage to do that, to break the programming of what we think is sexy and sexual and is acceptable and not. At the bottom of the deck is compassion. When are we going to have more compassion for ourselves and for others? That this pornography ring, they keep saying that. They want me to show this. But picture that instead of having people here pure, they said picture that this tree is dead and decayed as this blackness here. And that's what this pornography does. It decays your brain to awful extents. It changes your neurological pathway, so then it becomes difficult to orgasm to normal sexual play. You then require more stimulation. They're showing me harder fists, more tools, darker magic, darker energy in the pornography. It gets more intense. That's why also the play is an hour and a half long. Stop. Consider really why you're doing this. And why is this where you're getting so much joy when you could be building a house for a family that needs it? Helping them to move their stuff. Why does that not bring you joy? But seeing a woman on her knees does. And they said it's domination play. And it's unhealthy. And you need to ask yourself why this gets your rocks off. And why you want her pubic hair gone. And to look like a child. And they want to end the reading there. They said I could draw one Moonology card because it's my new deck. Even though it's apparently it's like a China copy, but it's not legit, but that's okay, I'm grateful. What do you want me to say? What is the overall energy of this reading here? If people were to sit down in contemplation and to consider what Tiffany has said with an objective, loving perspective, not like out of spite, oh, what a bitch, how dare she call me out on my pornography addiction. What will be so? That it's time to take action, folks. It's time for deep conversations, difficult conversations, and it's time to change. If you don't want men to abuse your vagina and not keep hair, then it's time to grow it in. And then only accept a male who's going to accept that you have pubic hair. Doesn't mean you can't trim it. Like the ancient Egyptian goddesses of old and queens of old, like Nefertiti. It is time to take action, baby. Okay, this is your reading. Food for thought, folks. God bless you. We're going to say a closing prayer, they say. Dear Heavenly Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven. Please forgive us for our trespasses against the divine feminine in this lifetime and in all lifetimes. Please help the divine masculine to rise up to be the warrior kings of old, golden-hearted, pure, loving, divine spiritual warriors who will heal, protect, guard, and resist temptations that seek to thwart them from their divine path in love and light only. We beseech you to bring these divine wishes to fruition here on this earth plane now and forevermore. Amen, and so it is. That's Metatron's prayer. All right. Bye. Like, subscribe. What's up, folks? God bless you. Merry early Christmas. Whenever you're seeing it. Okay? Thank you, guys. Seriously.